What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a wonderful Friday night as we get closer to midnight into Saturday. It is your boy, it is Guns Picks, joining you here on the Breaking Ankles College Basketball Preview Show. And man, do I have some early plays for you on this one. Listen, I owe it to you people. I came back with the late night bangers last Saturday because I went 0-4. That's on me. But what I do best is like I don't cower in the corner. I don't whimper. It's like I will come back and keep firing because I know that my capping mechanism and what I do best works. So I'm gonna keep doing it and I'm gonna bring it to the chat here. Free Mind always joining me, baby. What's going on, buddy? What it do? Bang, bang, bird. Not the bird, but it was the Chiefs on that one. Let's talk college basketball on this one. I want to make this a very clean, crisp show. I have 3 plays for you for the early slate. But guess what? We're gonna break this show into two days. So you're gonna get a Saturday rendition of the Breaking Ankle show with me and the Dab. Dabby's he's a hustler. He's got to work all the time. So he can't be on every single show. His time is limited, but we found a good time slot for him. We're going to be joined late afternoon, probably 4:30, 5 o'clock, and we're going to break down a late night slate. So I'm going to give you only early plays on this one, but this is what everybody wants right now. This is the stuff we're going to be watching, and then next thing you know, you can come back to us. We got another show for you, and we can break down a couple more plays on this one. So let's get into the plays that pay, and I'm going to start with this game right here, Rutgers versus Wisconsin. Cole Arena, Madison, Wisconsin, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you got to know where Wisconsin's coming from versus where Rutgers is coming from to make this a perfect cap. So I'm going to be going with Rutgers plus 1.5, and you might as well sprinkle in the money line as well on that one. But Rutgers coming off an embarrassing loss. They got beat by Nebraska by 10 points as 14-point favorite. Rutgers is a good team. However, I think when this team travels, they're a little bit different, so that has some concern with me. But when I see this short line, I think that is telling me a Rutgers story more than it's telling me a Wisconsin story. Now you got Wisconsin coming off a win versus their hated rival. It's like what I consider Wisconsin and Michigan, I consider them equivalent to as it stands right now. I consider them equivalent to in football, Ohio State and Michigan. I think Michigan, there's a lot of hatred between those two teams. So for Wisconsin to pull out that victory as they did, a team that can't cover a lot of spreads, it is a high point for them. It's almost like beating the number 1 team in the country for them. Now Rutgers' strength, like all year long, like what makes this team great is their defense. They're ranked 3rd in defensive efficiency, 11th in defense defending shots, and 24th in creating turnovers. Where this is the key point on this one. I'll get to that in a second, but like the one weakness that Rutgers has is rebounding, and they're ranked 132nd in defensive rebounding. I'll get to Wisconsin in a second on that one. That has some concerns for me on that one. But like, look at Wisconsin's offense. Not great. Not great at all. And I think that's really been equivalent to like how they haven't covered a lot of spreads this season. They're ranked 161st in offensive efficiency, 263rd in field goal percentage, and 346th in offensive rebounding. This is a team that's really bad, and it may result into the firing of the coach or the firing of the coaching staff. I mean, this is a bad Wisconsin team. Also, get a look at Wisconsin, the free throw line. The charity stripe, they are ranked 334th in making free throws. This is a bad team. And you have this Rutgers team that is coming off a bad loss, going on the road, going to have to play in Wisconsin. I think they're going to really step up their game on this one. Also, Rutgers, you got to look at them 9-3 against the spread after a double-digit loss, where Wisconsin is 1-8 against the spread in their last 9 home games. So you have 2 teams coming from different situations as far as their previous game into this game. And I think Rutgers, even though they're not the greatest road team on the planet, I think Rutgers really steps their game up on this one. You get a short line and a gift on this one, so I wouldn't mind taking a little sprinkle on the money line, but I'm a little bit more cautious as a better, so I'm going to be going with Rutgers plus 1.5 as the play on this one. 1 unit special. As we fire shots as we always do. Chat! You guys watching me right now, I want to hear what you're drinking. I want to hear what you're smoking. I want to hear games that you're on. Like that's the stuff that I want to know. Like give me some stuff that I can bounce back to you. It's like I have opinions on games. Listen, I've already looked at every game up to 4 o'clock already. So I will give you my opinion the best that I can, but you have to put it in the chat if you want my opinion. So please do so as you're watching me live. Now we're gonna play Big 12 stuff. Like this is the stuff that I always gravitate to on Saturdays. I don't know why, but when I see these teams matchups, I feel like I have an advantage betting the Big 12. So let's get into that one. Texas Tech versus West Virginia, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Probably early for the Texas Tech Raiders, Red Raiders on this one. They're playing at WVU Coliseum, Morgantown, West Virginia. Take me home, country road, because I'm going to be taking West Virginia minus 6.5 on this one. Listen, I know where Texas Tech's coming from. They're playing really good ball right now. They're coming off back-to-back wins over Texas and KSU. They've covered 5 of the last 6. But look at the lines on these games. They've been very short. Now you're getting a line that is sitting at minus 6.5 right now as we're talking. I think this is going to be a West Virginia type of play on this one. Now, West Virginia is coming off back-to-back road losses versus Baylor and Texas. Good teams in the Big 12. And now they're sitting here heavily favored at home. I think it's going to be a rejuvenation of the Mountaineers on this one. Now, let's look at the stats on West Virginia and Texas Tech. The offense for West Virginia is 18th in offensive efficiency, 29th in offensive rebounding, and 11th in field goal percentage. So offensively, this team is absolutely solid. On the defensive side for Texas Tech, 47th in defensive efficiency, 253rd in defensive rebounding, and 100th in defending shots. So what you're going to have here is an offense that's going to be very explosive in this spot for West Virginia as they were in the previous game. Now you have West Virginia's defense. Look at them for a second. 45th in defensive efficiency, 167th in defensive rebounding, and 170th in defending shots. Texas offense, on the other hand, they're kind of middle of the road. 75th in offensive efficiency, 82nd in field goal percentage, and 86th in offensive rebounding. So there's a little bit of a lag on that regard in the West Virginia side, but their offense, I think, there's so big of a gap between the offense and the defense. I think West Virginia is going to be very explosive in this game. Key stat on this one, too, by the way. West Virginia's defense is ranked 62nd in turnovers, where Texas Tech loves to turn over the ball. They're ranked 292nd in offensive turnovers. So I think that's going to be a key point on this one. I think the West Virginia defense, as middle of the road as they are, they do create turnovers, whereas they're playing a team that is susceptible to turnovers in that spot. Now you got to look at the last matchup. They played on January 25th. West Virginia won that game on the road, 76-61 as 3.5-point dogs. Now West Virginia's favored 6.5 points in this spot. Big line swing. I always like to pick out those big line swings all the time. And I think this is one of those situations that you have to take advantage of it. I think Texas Tech, as hot as they're playing right now, is going to bait a lot of these public bettors to go take Texas Tech because West Virginia is not really doing anything that I would deem to be something that I'd want to bet on. But when I look at the numbers and look at the stats and I look at the mismatches in this one statistically, I have to be taking the Mountaineers in this one. So give me West Virginia minus 6.5 as the play. As we're firing shots, and I see the chat getting a little bit wild on this one, D. Nathan says, Virginia Tech -4. Listen, that's a game I need to look at a little bit harder. West Virginia is one of those teams that has been a very big disappointment all season long, and it's one of those situations. I need to see where those two teams come from. But like, I may have this as a pick tomorrow. But if you want to see all my picks, you got to make sure you join our Slack channel. And to join our Slack channel, all you have to do is click the link in my bio, and you're in. You can go and hang out for a month and not pay a single dime. But if you want to stay with us at the end of the month, which is coming up pretty quick here, that is where we just say, hey, it's like a little something for the effort. Doesn't have to be, it has to be something that is reasonable to your betting pattern, I would say, as a reasonable tip. If we helped you out, then tip us good. If we were dormant, we didn't do you well, just you know, uh, and you want to stay with us, tip less. That's all we say. All right, exactly in the chat talks about Indiana -6. That's a game I'm going to be looking at. This is a game that I felt like I could wait on this one and kind of try to feel everything out. I know where Indiana's coming from, and I want to just wake up in the morning, go check the line, go check any injury reports or anything that's going to come affect the game overall. And this is a game that I'm just going to wait on that one. Uh, anyways, so I got one more pick for you guys on this show, and I'm going right back to the Big 12 because I think the Big 12 has really good matchups this week, and we're going to the 4 p.m. game, Eastern Standard Time. They're playing in Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas, and I've been there personally. Great place, very quiet when I was there because it was off season, but um, I think Kansas gets it done on this one, and you see the line telling you that Kansas sitting here at -4.5 is a story. Okay, I'm going to be taking them on this spot versus a Baylor team that's playing red hot. So why is it getting -4? Let's talk about it. Kansas is coming off a game coming into this game 5-1 against the spread and straight up in the last 6 games. So this is a Kansas team that was kind of questionable coming into probably I would say into January, but when they turned into February, I think they're at least late January, early February, they started to like turn things around and started to get the momentum. And that is what good teams do. Well coached teams, great players, they get pumped up for February and March. And you're starting to see it with this Kansas team. So be aware of that as we get into the March Madness season. Baylor is in the same spot. They're 9-1 straight up, and they've covered 4 out of the last 3. But they've covered actually the last 4 games, but 3 of those are at home. So Baylor is very comfortable at home. They're very powerful at home, and they're a team that you can not fade when they're playing there. But they're on the road on this one in Allen Fieldhouse. So look at Baylor's offense, ranked first in offensive efficiency, 53rd in field goal percentage, and 11th in offensive rebounds. Where they're playing a Kansas defense that kind of stays with them on this one, 14th in defensive efficiency, 43rd in defending shots. Key point on this one, which is kind of a mismatch. They're not good at rebounding the ball on the defensive side. 180th in defensive rebound. So that is a key concern for me on this bet. But I can't escape why this line is sitting here at -4.5 right now. And I think it's going to get steamed up by the time we wake up on Saturday. Now you got to look at Kansas offense. They're ranked 19th in offensive efficiency, 64th in field goal percentage, and 134th in offensive rebounding. This is where Baylor hits their weak point on this one. Is the Baylor defense, which is kind of like unprecedented, in at least like when you saw Baylor teams in the last few years. I'm like, don't forget this team has won a national championship. Baylor's defense is 78th in defensive efficiency, 206th in defending shots, 231st in defensive rebounds. So I think this is where Kansas takes advantage of this team. They expose them early on the offensive side, get that momentum, and Allen Fieldhouse rocking because they're playing a very good team. This is a top 10 matchup here, folks. So it's gonna be an electric game at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this one in Allen Fieldhouse. Also, I said these teams met on January 23rd. Baylor won the game 75-69, 2.5 point. I'm sorry, 2 point favorites, and Kansas is favored 4.5 on this one. This is a 6.5 point swing from game A to game B. This is a storyteller here, folks. I said on Dad Bods last night. It's like I feel like if a line is sharp, the line from game A to game B should only be 2 to 3 points. And now you're seeing a 6.5 point swing on this one. So I think this is telling a Kansas story, not a Baylor Bears story on this one. Also, look at the trends for the icing on the cake. 4-0 against the spread. The home team has covered in this matchup. So I love Kansas here. It's a revenge spot. They're heading home. And it's a big line swing from game A to game B. I got to be taking Kansas on this one. This is my best bet on the show. So give me Kansas -4.5 as the best bet. Bang, boom, pow. So I gave you 3 plays. That's going to get you through the afternoon slate. But don't fret because we're going to come back at 4:30 tomorrow and break down the late night slate. And Dabby Cab's going to be joining me on that one. So we're going to have a couple of opinions on that one. And Dabby Cab is the big first half guy. So if you like first halves on this one, you might want to tune into the show. I know it's during an electric college basketball slate, but we're going to break down stuff in like 15 to 20 minutes on this one. And it's worth getting those plays in for the late night slate. You might even get 6 in the spot. But I appreciate the people that are joining me today. I know it's late, and if you join me now, join me later. If you haven't seen the show before, you haven't recognized the channel, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please join us for future content. Because guess what? This channel is myself, it's the Shark, it's Dabby Cab, it's Odds Fellow, it's Pun Picks. Like there's gonna be a lot of content coming off there, and more cappers are gonna be introduced in 2023. It's going to be an electric year for the channel, and we want to grow this thing to the moon. We want to give you the right content. There's a lot of people out there that give you the Sasmapads and the parade and the pomp and circumstance, but like we're not going to do that to you. We're going to actually give you statistical analytics. We're going to tell you how we got to the play, and in the same spot, try to teach you in the process, and that's what we're trying to do here. And I see everybody here. People are betting Kansas. Yeah, that they should be. Oh, okay, exactly. It's a revenge spot. Don't get like with college basketball. You have to understand something, and I want to tell people this. It's like don't get too caught up in the public versus contrarian plays on some of these picks. It's like sometimes stats kind of work themselves out, especially in college basketball. College football is a little bit different because it's a little bit more condensed. Same thing with the NFL; it's very condensed. But college basketball is so widespread as far as where the money and the tickets are going that getting a read that you're seeing from a website or you see it from Action or you see it from pregame or whatever, it's not giving you exactly the whole story. So, like, if you see a sharp move, all I say is like, okay, I need to look at this game a little bit and try to get to the side. If you can't get to the side, then don't play the game. But if you see something very strong on the other side, just play it. And just that's all you got to do. This is what we do on the show. I'm trying to give you teaching points in this one. And by the way, I'm giving these are all 1 unit plays. We're not trying to get too crazy right now. I'm going to get a little bit more uh, aggressive when we get into March Madness because the games get a little bit more condensed and the money gets more condensed. And I'm going to get a little bit more funky on the unit plays on this one because I've been very successful at betting March Madness than I have regular season. So, with all that being said, I appreciate all you guys joining us live for this show. It is a late show, so please like, subscribe if you haven't yet. And we will be back tomorrow, probably around 4:30 for the late night show, late night plays with the Dab on the Breaking Ankles Part 2. So appreciate you guys so much. and let's cash some tickets. And as always, let's keep dancing.